Following on from my Supergirl video, I've just finished watching the Legends of Tomorrow trailer, which is the next show to come out of the CW network. It's the Flash and Arrow spin-off series featuring some of the characters from both series, so I'm just going to talk about that really. First of all, I love both Flash and Arrow TV shows, so it looks like I'm probably going to like this anyway. The main characters that they've already announced, there's the Atom, the Canary, formerly the Black Canary, but now she appears to be called the White Canary. I'll go into more a bit about that in a minute. Captain Cold and Heatwave, who are villains, so they'll probably have a slightly different involvement in the team. There's Dr. Martin Stein, who is one half of Firestorm. There is also a new character, which they're introducing in this show, Hawkgirl, but we've not seen her in anything else before, so that'll be quite interesting. And also Rip Hunter, the Time Traveller, who will be played by Arthur Darvill, who a lot of people will know. He used to be in Doctor Who as Rory. First impressions of this, it's a good trailer for a new show, but a lot of the footage that has been included in it isn't necessarily going to be in the actual show itself. Some of the cast have already come out and said that they're not actually in production yet, so the stuff we've seen won't necessarily be in the finished product, which in some respects might not be too bad. It seems that Arthur Darvill has had a bit of an upgrade since he was in Doctor Who, as he now appears to be playing the time-travelling Rip Hunter, who is a Time Master, who appears to be gathering this team together to try and fix some broken timelines. That will probably be how they link it to the Flash, because obviously, as we know, Flash has already been involved in some time travel himself, and obviously Harrison Wells, the Reverse Flash, is time traveller himself. He's featured in the trailer for this show as well, so we know he's going to be involved in some form. A couple of things that jumped out at me from this is the fact that right at the beginning, when they're assembling the team, talking about stuff on the rooftop, as they do in these shows, Oliver Queen, and this is a spoiler for the finale of Arrow Season 3, if you haven't seen it already, Oliver seems to still be in his Arrow costume. Now, at the end of Series 3, he gives up that, saying that Ra's al Ghul had taken it from him and the Arrow is dead after Roy took the fall for him. So him being back in the suit brings up more questions than answers, really. Is this gathering of the team set before he gives up the Arrow and before all the things with Ra's al Ghul, or is it actually back in time a little bit? Rip Hunter's already used his time travelling abilities to go back to an earlier point before he'd given it up. I don't know, or maybe he does pick it back up again. Although, based on some interviews I've read, where Stephen Amell's been talking about the future of the Arrow, it looks like the Arrow will not be coming back, and he's going to be coming back in some form as a hero, I'm sure, but the Arrow himself isn't, and we might see a different version of Oliver Queen in Series 4. So I don't really know what that's about. The Canary, played by Katie Lotz in Arrow, obviously at the moment the Black Canary is being played by Katie Cassidy, who is Laurel Lance, and is Sarah Lance's sister, who was the first Black Canary. She got killed by Thea Queen at the start of Series 3 of Arrow, and wasn't seen again after that, but she now appears to have gone through the Lazarus pit at Ra's al Ghul's place, and has now come back to life and has adopted the persona of White Canary. So I liked her as a character. She was pretty good at fighting, so that's quite interesting to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing some more fighting from her. Now, Dr. Martin Stein, we know he's one half of the Firestorm character. We haven't seen anything on Robbie Amell, who plays Ronnie, the other half of Firestorm, in this trailer. Whether he's going to be in the show or not, I don't know. I haven't seen anywhere that he's been confirmed to be playing Ronnie in it. I'm assuming he's going to continue playing part of Firestorm in The Flash, so it makes sense for him to be in this as well. But they haven't given us any indication of that, but I think it would. I'm not sure how it would work if he's not in there. Would Dr. Stein just be the brains of the group, or I don't know, what else would he do? Obviously the Atom is in there, and we see in the trailer that he has at least started using his shrinking ability, which I've been waiting for since the Atom character was announced way back. Obviously I know the Atom from the comics, and that the shrinking ability is his main ability. I was a little bit disappointed when they had him suiting up a bit like Iron Man in the Arrow TV show, but now they appear to be going back towards his comic persona, so that could be quite good. And as I said earlier, Captain Cold and Heatwave, they're villains from the Flash TV show, but appear to be part of this team. That's going to cause some friction, I'm sure. I don't really like their characters from the TV show because basically they use guns which they didn't even make themselves, and the acting is really bad for a start. Take away their guns and they're pretty useless, really. A couple of other things from the trailer itself. They've announced who the big villain is going to be for this team, and it's a guy called Vandal Savage, who, from the comics, he is a caveman from about the year 50,000 BC, who got affected by some radiation of a meteorite, which gave him immortality and extreme intellect, and then he's basically been plaguing the world for thousands of years, causing various disasters. Apparently he was the head of the Illuminati at the time that sank the city of Atlantis, so he's a bit of a bad dude. We haven't seen what he's going to look like, but it could just look like a normal guy, to be honest. I don't think he's going to look like a caveman, but that's quite interesting to see. Brand new villain character, that's good. As I mentioned, we see a shot of Harrison Wells in what we're going to assume is a time machine of some sort. Whether that's a shot from him as a flashback of him going back, using the time machine originally to go back, or if he's finally built the time machine ready to go back to the future, if you excuse the term. One thing from that shot, a lot of people have probably already seen it. In the trailer, there's a very blurry image right in front of Harrison Wells when he's in the time sphere. And then there's been a behind-the-scenes image released which shows the helmet from the Golden Age Flash, Jay Garrick, just lying on the floor in the same room as him. If this is an Easter egg, I love it. However, if it is an indication that Jay Garrick is going to be in the show in some way, or whether he's going to be in the Flash, that's even better. I quite like having different versions of the same character from comic lore appear. I quite like the fact that they've got two different Black Canaries now. Obviously in the comics there are two different people who play the Black Canary at certain times. With the Flash, I think it's really good because we do have at least three different people that have been the Flash in the comics. Jay Garrick being the first one, and there have been crossover comics where Barry Allen has met Jay Garrick, so that could be quite cool. But it might just be an Easter egg. The character that I'm most looking forward to seeing is Hawkgirl, because as I said, that we've not seen her in anything else before, and she is a bit different to any of the other superheroes. The character of Hawkgirl from the comics is a woman who is a reincarnated spirit of a warrior from thousands of years ago, and it appears from the trailer that she doesn't have any wings permanently attached to her, so whether they're going to be on a harness or they're just going to spontaneously appear on her when she activates her reincarnated memories or something, I don't know. But I'd quite like to see her flying about, using her mace if she's got one. We've seen her flying about a little bit, but only on wide shots in the trailer, so hopefully we'll be able to see her a bit up close. So there, that'll be good. The only downside of the trailer for me, really, was some of the action. There were things like the giant robot foot appearing through the ceiling of that factory that they were fighting in. What is that robot foot? I know we're not supposed to know at this point, but it just looked... the CGI on that was horrendous. And I know these TV shows don't have the biggest budgets in the world, but they've done some pretty good things with their effects, and that was just really, really bad. Also, the effects of Atom's laser beams or whatever he has coming out, and Captain Cold's gun. I've never liked those effects, and they just seem a bit off. And especially in that scene where they're using them to fight the giant robot. They just seemed a bit pointless, really. We know Oliver Queen and Barry Allen are going to make appearances in this show. That scene I was talking about in the factory, Barry Allen is using his Flash skills around at the time. I am pretty excited for this because I love Flash and the Arrow, so I'm quite excited to see another show set in the same universe. I don't think it's going to be as good as either of the other two, because the characters involved in this team are minor characters from the other shows, and I don't think they're strong enough to hold their own show as a team. But we'll see, I might be wrong. So the trailer itself, I think 7 out of 10 for me. And we'll look forward to seeing more footage from it. Maybe some set photos will be released soon. And we'll see where we go.